Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Mid-South Wrestling Review Series for the 25th of June, 1983. And we have a decent match going here. Skandar Akbar introducing the Mongol and Kamala, basically endorsing them as the next big team. Obviously, Kamala has been here before. The Mongol, relatively new, I believe, is a name for Nikolai Volkov under another name. I could be wrong on that though. Mongol and Kamala in the middle of nowhere, kind of doing their due diligence, so to speak, and we see Hacksaw Butch Reed against Joe Stark in the next contest. A very relatively one-sided affair. Stark, obviously, an enhancement talent. We've seen that before. Butch Reed continuing to call out the Junkyard Dog, saying he's not getting the match with the dog that he wants, and he's very vocal about the fact that he knows he's better than the dog. Anyway, Butch Reed manages to use a lot of power moves and hard shots, forearms, and the like, sending Stark up and over the hip, and then getting as much as he possibly can to get things going in a direction that is a, pretty solid direction. Shot into the buckle, and again, we kind of see Reed getting as much as he can with a shot there. We see Reed managing to go to town on whatever is there, and hard shots by Reed along the way. Punch kick, knee to the side of the head, and ultimately managing to get a Irish whip, among others, and a big shot into the face with a forearm. Reed not willing to take a backward step to anybody, and clearly is the future, or a future in the promotion. Hot shot across the top rope, among other things, and Reed manages to go for the cover. 1, 2, 3, gets the victory there. We move to Mr. Olympia and Boris Zerkov versus Duggan and Rich. Feel like we saw this match last week. I believe we did, but I'll cover it again because I think it was partially incomplete or something like that. Or this is a rematch of same combination. Rich doesn't seem like the best partner for Duggan, but they manage to do it again anyway. Rich manages to get a few arm drags on Olympia, and I mean, he's a decent enough guy. Back suplex by Olympia, and Olympia back to using the white mask almost as an insult to wrestling too, which is kind of weird. Maybe he didn't have another mask, or maybe they're re-initiating that feud. But needless to say, Zerkov manages to get a few punches off pretty quickly and assertively. The back suplex and atomic drop actually end up being an atomic drop from Olympia, a pretty big deal there, and hard shot. And again, Duggan in, all four men in actually, and Duggan and Olympia managed to brawl, and it's some pretty hard shots by Duggan. Duggan gets tied up with someone that was seconding Akbar, and Akbar gets in, tries to take shots at Duggan too. Duggan gets worn down pretty aggressively, and the idea of ending Hacksaw Jim Duggan, a pretty big deal here. Arn Anderson and Mr. Wrestling 2 going against the grain there, and ultimately, Wrestling 2 managing to face off against Arn Anderson. Wrestling 2 having picked up the, I believe, Missouri Championship along the way. Let me just go back and check that. I know he has picked up a championship. But let me just check the derivative of that championship. In
the red corner at 250 pounds from Minneapolis, Minnesota, Arn Anderson. And in the blue corner at 236 pounds from Atlanta, Georgia, the national heavyweight champion, Mr. Wrestling 2.
Okay, so he is the national heavyweight champion. I was incorrect with my assumption. I remembered the belt. I just didn't remember the championship. And sorry if the audio is distorted there. Anyway, so Wrestling Two brings that from Georgia. Floats over, arm drags, hip tosses by two. Anderson is really finding his own, getting pushed back into the corner by Wrestling Two, and we see some heavy aggression, assertion by Wrestling 2, gets the side headlock takeover, and manages to do everything he can possibly do. Some shots there along the way, which shots to the midsection, a pretty big deal. Wrestling 2 does use the heel punch to the side of the head deal in the headlock, which generally is a heel move predominantly, not always, not every bit of every day, but it's there as a thing. And Anderson manages to miss, or there is a miss of some stuff in the corner. Anderson takes advantage of that, trying to get a pinfall. Does not get the pinfall he wants, and shot to the top of the head. Anderson goes for the mask a little bit. Interesting that with mask guys, especially with baby faces, guys go for the mask on a consistent basis. This fires Wrestling 2 up pretty aggressively, assertively, and a short knee is what is needed there to get things going in a positive direction as far as that is concerned. Hard shot by Wrestling 2 into the midsection, and a big body slam, kind of hanging version of that, and a atomic or back suplex by Wrestling 2, and then we manage to get a knee lift, 1, 2, and 3. Wrestling 2 gets the victory and retains his championship. Bob Roop, who's coming back to the territory, has been in and out a little bit. Not as consistent as he once was in 82, but he's still here against the Junkyard Dog. Junkyard Dog and Roop have wrestled before in series in 82, but he's here, and Dog is not willing to waste any backward motion. Goes right at Roop pretty aggressively with some headbutts and side shots and the like. Dog is the North American champion, and we see he continues to hold on to the head with pretty vicious abandon. Roop jumps to the floor with the chin over the top rope deal, and we continue to see some aggression there. We kind of look at some shots, and again, kick to the back of the wrist and all of that. We then see an Irish whip and a clothesline by Roop, who manages to get the best he can out of things, and a big leg drop across the back and the spine, and Roop manages to continue his foray into things going in a positive direction, ducks the clothesline, and a knee into the midsection there, and we get basically a 2 count out of nowhere. Junkyard Dog manages to slam and thump his opponent 1, 2, 3, and a victory there. Super Destroyer against Mil Mascaris. Interesting battle of the masked guys. Super Destroyer becoming more of a force here over the last 2 or 3 months. Mil Mascaris comes in. It seems he's predominantly in Texas in the Lucha Libre areas, but he does come in from time to time. Big monkey flips and atomic drops and drop kicks, a series of 3 of them by Mascaris. Mascaris, a guy who does not take losses well at all. Head scissors take over, or take in more accurately, and a top rope attempted splash from the top, 1, 2, and 3. Mascaris gets the victory there. Tim Horner and Tony Zane. And that goes, I guess you'd say, as best as it's going to go. In that Tony Zane, not really a terribly seasoned veteran, although they only have about four, maybe 3.5, 4 minutes. Zane tries for some ride time and gets it. Horner gets a takedown. That's pretty aggressively, assertively done. Horner then floats over into a front face lock. Really basic stuff. I do not understand the logic of putting what would be opening matches in most house shows in the final position, although it is the concept of the standby match. So I guess I understand it. It's just not something that I necessarily would do. Hard shots by both men, and they kind of stand and brawl. And with a couple of minutes left, there really doesn't get to be a finish. Actually, there does. I was thinking of another match between the two. Horner gets a victory with the after the shots and the brawling, and Horner gets that victory with a backdrop followed by a knee drop, and then he manages to take the victory after the knee drop. Odd that a knee drop is a finish, but it is, and we will close with that. We'll come back with July in a little bit. Until next time, keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment.